Alright, so more stuff about the Sonic movie has come out on Twitter. We have quite a bit of images to look at, which is surprising. You would think they would only show one, but no, there's like 5 to 8 of them that we can talk about. So, let's get into it. Last time I discussed about the first Sonic poster that was revealed at around December of 2018, which gave us a look at the live-action Sonic. Sort of. The entire image uses a rim light effect which only outlines the edges of the model, which means you can't make out what he actually looks like in the front. All you can really see is that he doesn't have gloves, his body is oddly muscular, and that he's wearing old ass white people shoes from the 99-cent store. Yeah, it's safe to say this did not make a good first impression for those who might be looking forward to the film that's expected to be released at the end of the year. But November is a pretty long time, so I suggested that they should take more time into designing the character before showing everyone else the final look. Unfortunately, it seems that this is the final design, as not a lot has changed with these new images. But there is one thing different with these new photos. We now can actually see what Sonic looks like. And here they are. And yes, these are real photos. To my knowledge, these images came from what sort of looks like a pamphlet that somehow got leaked online, despite them probably not planning to show them this soon and was scheduled for a summer release. But regardless on what the situation was, we now have a clear look at what the live-action Sonic will possibly look like in the upcoming movie. And I honestly expected worse. Now I got 4 images to comment on, so let's start with this one first. You can definitely see it has the pamphlet style to it, which I guess is supposed to be like a movie guide, something reminiscent to those big ass video game book guides that you would find at retro game stores. I should point out that these are mostly artwork of the film and not actual CGI renders, but they're not gonna look any different when we get to the rest. Now, I said that the head was the best looking part of the previous Sonic poster, even if the head appeared to be too big for the body, and now that we got a clear look at his face, I still stand by that the head is the best looking part of the design. My only complaint about it is the eyes. Now, I am not saying, why are his eyes separated when they should be connected like the other games? Honestly, I for one am glad they are not connected. Sonic's eyes being merged into one big eyeball never looked right to me even as a kid, so I'm glad that they did separate his eyes for the movie. But what's interesting though is that even though they are not connected, he has a patch of white fur between the eyes that gives off the illusion that they are connected. Paramount and the Sonic team have said that they want to keep true to his core design despite the changes they are making with the movie, and I guess that's one of them. Really, that's the only change I can get by because it is admittedly a clever way to alter his face in a way while still keeping the core aspect of the connected eyes intact. But besides that, what I was actually talking about was that his eyeballs are too small, especially when his pupils are this big. I know they don't want to exaggerate the look of the eyes by that much compared to the games, but I still feel like they should be a bit bigger or make the pupils thinner. The mouth is a throw-off to me. I feel like that is the biggest problem when making a CGI render of Sonic, is that how are you supposed to design the mouth, especially when in the games his mouth does not have a consistent placement whenever the camera is focusing on his left and right side of his face and barely in the middle. Well, sit tight, cause I got a picture of that to show later. Be prepared. Alright, this one is weird, and no, I'm not talking about the mouth, this is not the picture I'm showing yet, but it's the fact that you look at his hair and it's just all messy, but you see his body and it's all flat. Well, at least we know that his stomach is not blue as we thought, and it's not hairless as we can see a bit of fur around it, because every video game animal in live action movies need to have fur apparently. Also, why does this part of the pamphlet remind me of the front of pain relief boxes like Advil and Salonpas? Why is it so similar to that, and why am I the only one who recognizes it? Also, his hands. I know what a lot of you are about to say. Oh hey, they actually kept his white gloves. Well, the thing about that is, those are not his gloves. Those are his actual hands, but white. And I have to really scratch my head on that decision. I can understand the white fur between his eyes, but to have to actually change the color of his hands just to resemble the gloves he wears in every single Sonic game imaginable, it forces me and everyone to ask the obvious question, why can't you just give him gloves? I seriously don't get this. Why change something that doesn't need to be changed? Alright, so we covered the pamphlet art, but we're not done here. There actually was another leak that reveals the fully CGI model of Sonic. Here is where we get a real look at the design. And like I said, not a lot has been changed other than the one thing that I just noticed. Looking much more closely at the fur on his body, he has quills on his head and on his shoulders, kind of like what you would see on an actual hedgehog. I gotta give them credit where it's due. When they add extra details like this to the model, it does bring it to life and actually looks really unique, even if the entire model itself still looks, well, weird. I think the body anatomy looks better here since he is standing instead of crouching in the last poster. I know that he will not be the same height as the human characters in this movie, so I am not expecting to see a 6-foot tall hedgehog running around the city, but at least he won't be a walking bobblehead throughout the whole thing. Oh, and going back to the shoes that I lost my mind about the last video, I have to give my sincere apology to the Sonic team, or Paramount, about this. Clearly, I have gotten it all wrong, and these are not old-ass white people shoes from the 99-cent store, but he's in fact wearing Nikes. Fucking Nikes. Are you shitting me? And the funny thing is, I searched up red Nike shoes on Google Images, and I have found hundreds, if not thousands, of pictures of red Nike shoes that look infinitely better and follow more closely to the actual Sonic shoes from the games than these worn down pieces of shit. Ah! Oh, and that mouth I was talking about, well, that's how it's gonna look like in live action. And if you think that looks incredibly creepy, well, you wanna know what it looks like when his mouth is open? There. That's what it looks like. I would comment on this, but all I am wondering is where the hell his teeth are. Fuck, he looks like a disfigured baby. While we are talking about this picture, I was told that it was a shot taken from a Nickelodeon ad that briefly shows this little teaser. So I think we might actually get a trailer sooner or later that shows Sonic in action, but how it will play out is for another video. I just hope that the trailer can make up for the design of the character by showing us at least some good chases, his banter with the mentioned cop from the IMDb description, and maybe give us our first look at Jim Carrey's Dr. Eggman. To conclude, the design in some ways looks better than what we saw in the first poster. Sonic's face doesn't look that bad now that we can see it, and his body build isn't really as noticeable than it was before. But you still got some really baffling design decisions, like making his hands white to resemble gloves instead of just giving him gloves, his shoes being a fucking advertisement for Nikes, and that mouth. That goddamn mouth. It's not a good design, it's not a bad design, it's just meh. That's really the best way I could describe it. I am leaning towards going meh than I am going, ugh. Here's to hoping the trailer can change our minds about this thing, whenever that will come out. Now, what do you guys think about the new Sonic movie images? Do you think the design is better? Do you think it's worse? And what would you personally change to make it look better? Also, what would you like to see happen in the Sonic the Movie trailer? Let me know in the comments down below. Thanks for watching, and gotta go fast! Mr. Christian, I have a question to ask you. From what we saw in the teaser images, Sonic's arms appear to be blue instead of the traditional flesh color. What do you have to say about that? Yeah, I knew that was gonna be your reaction.